double denomination on a clad dime. A strike clad dime was overstruck twice by proof 1976 as Bicentennial quarter dies. The subsequent strikes have effaced the undertype design, but the diameter and reeded clad edge confirms the undertype. Between the two strikes from quarter dies, the coin rotated 100 degrees counterclockwise relative to the obverse side. From the first quarter strike, we see Washington's Q with his hair from the first strike. On the reverse, the drummer's left hand remains from the first strike. The coin has two small border splits at 7:30 and 10 o'clock, and traces of copper interior are apparent along the reverse border. It ended up selling for $9,000 on June 12, 2023 at Heritage Auctions. Here is night or 12 o'clock. The date and the meat mark are complete and clear. The second strike was several degrees southeast of the first strike, and is most apparent on We Trust and the ED in United. A majority of Liberty is off the flat, as is almost all of half dollar. The obverse between 12 and 2 o'clock displays a narrow band of red color where some of the copper core was squeezed out during the strike and struck into the upper right obverse margin. Sold on June 12, 2023 for $1,920. This is 2,000 Sacagawea dollars struck on a Susan B. Anthony dollar blank. Intense cartwheel luster springs boldly throughout the near-perfect gem surfaces of this important off-metal wrong planchet error. The strike is sharp and crisp on both sides, with even the tiniest of details fully represented. Low magnification reveals two light vertical die cracks on Sacagawea's portrait, both beginning on her forehead. The host planchet of the present rarity, a copper and nickel-clad Susan B. Anthony dollar blank, composed of outer core of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner layer of a pure copper, is no doubt from Susan B. Anthony coinage of the year of 1999. It was sold for $16,450 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1981 Lincoln cent with obverse die cap struck on a nickel planchet, graded as mean state 62 by PCGS. Die caps occur when struck coin fails to eject from the press, and successive strikes on new planchets warp the original coin around one of the die faces, resulting in a uniface cap with the design of the capped die struck into the depths of the cylinder. Die caps are often seen from the latter Lincoln cent issues, and occasionally appear also from other denominations, but virtually every instance of such an error involves a die cap produced with a planchet of the same denomination as the die, sometimes bonded with other planchets of the same denomination. The present piece, however, is a die cap formed by a nickel planchet on a cent die, making this a double error of sorts, a die cap and a wrong planchet. Sold on June 12, 2023 for $4,320 at Heritage Auctions. This is 1968 S Lincoln cent struck on a 1965 Roosevelt dime, graded in PR 62 condition by PCGS. This is an obvious overstrike or so-called double denomination error showing a full outline of the Roosevelt dime portrait on obverse around the Lincoln, rotated 180 degrees. Significant undertype is also visible on the reverse. Each side is brilliant and deeply mirrored, showing only minimal handling marks to limit the numeric grade. Sold on June 12, 2023 for $3,840 at Heritage Auctions. And this is 1944 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a standard nickel planchet graded as VF35 by PCGS, medium steel gray with a hint of golden toning, well circulated but no great physical detriment. A truly neat item by any standards. In late 1942 the use of copper nickel planchets for circulating 5-cent pieces was discontinued and replaced by a copper-silver manganese amalgam that will remain for duration of the war. In 1946, copper-nickel standard was once again in the play for denomination. No doubt a leftover copper-nickel planchet, or more perhaps, of the 1938-1942 era was on hand at Mint, and somehow found its way into the hopper of silver, wartime nickels. From there it entered circulation, where it must have stayed for years before an eagle-eyed collector spotted it for anomaly that it was and kept it in collection, where it avoided more wear and tear. It was sold for $5,875. at Stacks Powers auction. Thanks for watching, guys. Your likes and subscriptions are highly appreciated. Stay healthy. Hey coin collectors, welcome back to COİN. This is 1939 D Jefferson nickel and mean state 68 with full steps, reverse of 1940 variety. The scarcer variety from the second year of Jefferson nickel production. Faint gold and peach tones dominate the patina, with tints of powder blue accenting the rims. The luster is uniform and satiny across each side, complementing the overall untouched surfaces. These varieties are remarkably challenging in grades above MS66 and exponentially more so when the full step detail is considered. The present example is the very finest of these elusive population and sits alone at the top of the PCGS population report. It was sold for $26,400 at Stacks Powers auction. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to smash subscribe and bell buttons below this video. Thanks. Moving on with this 1954 cent in mint state 67 red, with rich color and vibrant mint luster. This intensely luster superb gem cent offers deep reddish orange coloration over both the obverse and the reverse. A degree of streaky tan color occurs near the top of the reverse, while the other side enjoys pleasing accents of lavender and powder blue. The strength of the design is readily apparent on the legends and wheat lines, as is the absence of any bothersome blemishes. It was sold for $31,200 at heritage auctions. If you have such rare coins you want to sell, watch this video until the end and I'll show you where you can advertise them for sale. This is 1971 D Eisenhower dollar in mint state 67 plus, CAC proven superb gem. This particular coin has a grading of MS67 plus, indicating that it is in mint state 67 condition, which is considered to be very high grade for a circulated coin. The plus symbol after the grade signifies that the coin possesses exceptional eye appeal or quality that goes beyond the typical MS67 grade. The CAC sticker signifies that the coin has undergone additional scrutiny and has been deemed to possess exceptional quality. The presence of CAC sticker generally adds value and enhances the desirability of a coin among collectors. It ended up selling for $13,056.75 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1969's double die cent in choice about uncirculated condition. The 1969's double die was discovered shortly after its release, yet today's specimens remain highly elusive. The bolt die doubling in places is nearly as dramatic as on its cousin, the 1955 double die, an error coin that's nonetheless far more available. While the digits of the 1955 double die are more widely separated, the letters near the rim of the 1969's double die are separated by nearly half-letter widths at In God We Trust. The digits of the date and the liberty are also widely doubled, although not in so extreme a fashion as the 1955 double die. A tick at the top of Lincoln's hair and one on the beard are only mentionable contact marks on obverse. Singular contact is also nearly absent on the reverse, save for a small mark on column of the Lincoln Memorial. These are minor complaints, however, compared to the overall high quality and excellent eye appeal this coin shows. It was sold for $22,325 at heritage auctions. This is 1964 Kennedy half dollar in PR68 condition, highly elusive accented hair variety, comes with deep cameo designation. This delightful proof is virtually pristine with untoned silver-white surfaces. The finish is decidedly cameoed with bold contrast between the frosty devices and deeply mirrored fields. Of the 3,950,762 proof set, the Philadelphia Mint struck for the first year 1964 Kennedy half dollar. Rick Tamaske estimates that only about 100,000 coins are of the accented hair variety. According to that author, this brief type was terminated after Jacqueline Kennedy inspected the new half dollars, bearing her husband's portrait at the request of Mint personnel. The former First Lady objected to some of the finer hair details and recommended changes, which eventually resulted in the revised Type 2 design. The easiest way to differentiate between the Type 1 and the Type 2 designs is to look at the hair strands directly above the Kennedy's ear. On the accented hair variety, two prominent strands in the area form a V shape that is not seen on the Type 2 examples. This gem was sold for $12,000 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1952 D. Jefferson nickel in Mint-State 67 with full steps. Whispers of lilac toning enhances obverse of this technically superior Jefferson nickel. The 1952 Denver issue is extremely difficult to find with a full strike due to incorrect die spacing at the mint. To locate one with flawless aesthetics and lustrous appeal is almost unheard of. It was sold for $15,275 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1955 D. Roosevelt Diamond in Mint-State 68 with full bands, well-blended toning in copper rose, powder blue, and pale gold colors is seen both sides of this vivid superb gem. The underlying luster is fully frosted and intense, and the surfaces are as pristine as the day the coin emerged from the press. The Denver Mint struck 30,959,000 dimes in 1955. At the time, collecting coins by roll was popular among collectors, and quite a few rolls of this issue were soon removed from circulation. This created an ample supply of mint-state specimens, including some with downright exquisite toning as here. The challenge of locating a striking gem example is further compounded by the fact that the bands on the torch on the reverse are sometimes rather weak and poorly defined. With its combination of delicate toning, bold strike, and overall impressive eye appeal, this specimen is certain to attract spirited bidding when it crosses the auction block. It was sold for $5,280 at Stack's Powers auction. Here is 1995 Lincoln Cent in Mint-State 69 red condition. The MS69 grade is high grade on the Sheldon coin grading scale, which range from 1 to 70, MS70. MS stands for Mint-State, indicating that the coin is uncirculated and has no significant wear or damage. A grade of MS69 signifies that the coin is nearly perfect with only minor imperfections visible under magnification. It may have some very minor surface marks or flaws, but overall it is a superb example of a Lincoln Cent from that year. This superb gem fetched the sum of $19,202.62 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. This is 1942 Washington Quarter in PR68 condition. This one also comes with CAC sticker on the slab. An exceptional example of the proof 1942 Washington Quarter, both sides with dustings of light sandy gold iridescence. The surfaces are uniformly mirrored and finished with virtually pristine appearance, impressive condition rarity from the mintage of 21,123 coins. The 1942 is the final proof in the series struck prior to 1950. It was sold for $3,840 at Stack's Powers auction. Moving on with his 1979 $half struck on Susan B. Anthony dollar planchet, graded in Mint-State 65 by PCGS. Excellent cartwheel luster encircles golden gray surfaces, boldly struck and nicely centered with the tops of the date digits visible and easily identified. The surfaces are especially choice, a very popular error type using the short-lived mini-dollar planchet. It was sold for $1,725 at Stack's Powers auction. This is 1971 Jefferson nickel, with no S mint mark, among the finest examples of this modern rarity. The surfaces are essentially perfect, and black and white contrast between the features and the fields is pronounced. Proof dimes are particularly susceptible to the no S mint error, with several dates known, but no S proof nickels were only struck in 1971. It was sold for $2,760 at Heritage Auctions. This is 1972 Lincoln Cent with double die verse graded in Mint-State 67 plus read by PCGS. According to PCGS, the 1972 double die type 1 can be easily identified as it has strong doubling to the southwest on all four digits on the date. The word liberty is also doubled toward the south. The words "In God We Trust" on the obverse are also strongly doubled towards the east. This variety is popular and it's also strong enough to see very easily with naked eye. It was sold for $9,343.74 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep following us on YouTube and don't forget to smash thumbs up and notification buttons. Have a nice day. Hey coin collectors, welcome back to COİN. Coin shown here is a truly memorable coin in proof Lincoln cent of any date. This is a glorious specimen, as a signed grade suggests, with virtually flawless surfaces dressed in vivid fire orange mint color. Water-filled support satiny design elements, the entire package smooth in hand and virtually pristine. The proof mintage of this issue is 378,200 pieces, not overly generous for the decade, and paltry in comparison to those of latter date issues in the proof Lincoln series. Even so, David W. Lang states that full red gems are readily available. On the other hand, the author observes, the greater number of new dyes used also resulted in an increased population of cameos, though deep cameo examples are still quite rare. This is a single finest example seen by PCGS in deep cameo category, a strike and condition rarity par excellence that belongs in a top-ranked collection on the set registry. This superb gem was bargained for $50,400 at Stacksbauer's auction. This is 1992 D Lincoln cent in mint state 64 red and brown condition, elusive close AM variety. Lincoln cent specialists are aware that proof dyes during much of the 1990s and 2000s differed in design from business strikes. The distance between the feet of AM in America is a pickup point, as is distance between the FG initials and the memorial. One die pair intended for production in 1993 was inadvertently used for Denver strikes in 1992. And due to the high attrition rate of modern cents, only a few examples have been located. This is a lustrous orange-gold near gem with minimal carbon and the look of a finer grade. It was sold for $20,700 at Heritage Auctions. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to activate subscription and notification buttons below. Thanks. This is 1959 Lincoln cent in PR69 deep cameo condition. This virtually pristine beauty really needs to be seen to be fully appreciated. Bright, vivid surfaces possesses full mint color in deep orange. The devices are sharply struck and possess a soft satin texture that contrasts markedly with deep reflectivity in the fields. Both sides are pristine in appearance, as befits a signed grade, and will please even the most discerning numismatists. At the threshold of numismatic perfection, the coin is exceedingly rare from a condition standpoint, and is seemingly earmarked for inclusion in a top-flight set on the PCGS registry. It ended up selling for $19,200 at Stacksbauer's auction. This is 2015 Shield cent in mint state 68, lustrous superb gem with surfaces almost devoid of contact. The shield design represents Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the American Civil War. Coins graded as MS68 are considered to be of exceptional quality, with sharp details, luster, and minimal contact marks or blemishes. These coins typically exhibit excellent eye appeal and are sought after by collectors who appreciate high-grade specimens. It ended up selling for $9,954 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1990 proof Lincoln cent with no S mint mark, graded as PR69 deep cameo by PCGS. The 1990 no-S Lincoln cents are in much demand for the segment of the collecting public that endeavors to assemble the next to impossible complete no-S modern proof set. Such a set would include some exceedingly rare issues, most notably the 1968 no-S proof Roosevelt times. This piece is sparkling orange-red with absolutely no mentionable flaws, as expected. It was sold for $11,162.50 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1936 Lincoln cent in PR66 red condition. Otherwise dusky pinkish-orange surfaces exhibit a blush of varied color at the upper obverse border that alternates between pale golden pink and steely red as the coin rotates under the light. The strike is full, the finish is universally reflective, the first proof cent produced since 1916. The 1936 is a key date issue in the modern Proof Lincoln series. It was sold for $2,640 on June 13, 2023 at Stack's Bowers auction. Here is 1970s large date cent in mint state 65 red, extremely rare double diverse specimen. Broad doubling on Liberty and the motto should make this extremely rare variety highly desirable, but it remains terribly underrated. The Cherry Picker's Guide explains, to this point fewer examples are known than the previous listing, the 1969s. However, this variety has not received the same publicity as the previous, thus the lower values. Its inclusion in the guidebook should generate significant notice. Each side is lustrous copper orange with minor scattered ticks and a bit of softness, but its most important feature, the strong doubling, is readily apparent. It ended up selling for $9,987.50 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1960 Proof Lincoln Cent, a large date issue, graded as PR69 Deep Cameo by PCGS. Vivid, virtually pristine surfaces deliver intense medium orange mint color and a boldly cameoed finish, while the large date is a more plentiful variety of the Proof 1960 Lincoln Cent. Examples such as these that approach numismatic perfection are remarkably conditioned rarities. This is 1994 Lincoln Cent in MS68 Plus red condition. An MS68 Plus grade indicates that the 1994 Lincoln Cent is in near perfect condition, exhibiting crisp details, full mint luster, and minimal contact marks or blemishes. The plus symbol indicates that the coin possesses exceptional eye appeal and displays characteristics that are slightly superior to the typical MS68 grade. It ended up selling for $3,498.75 with buyer's fee at Great Collections auction. Here is 1912 Lincoln Cent in PR66 Plus brown condition. This vividly toned Lincoln Cent exhibits underlying cobalt blue color, the dominant deep antique copper patina. A smooth, fully struck satin to matte-like gem from a mintage of 2,172 proofs, sold for $2,880 in June 2023 at Stack's Bowers auction. Here is 1975 Lincoln Cent in MS68 red condition. Only the most competitive registry sets will include a 1975 Lincoln Cent in this impossibly high grade. The surfaces are flawless as expected and display rich fire orange color. Two specks of carbon are noted, one on each side. It was sold for $9,000 at Heritage Auctions. Here is 1914 D Lincoln Cent in MS63 brown condition. This smartly impressed key date Lincoln Cent also offers dominant color in handsome medium autumn brown, pale champagne pink undertones and a touch of glossiness to the texture. Suggest an old light cleaning, but there are no blemishes of note apart from a lone spot tucked in close to the left obverse rim. It was sold for $2,640 at Stack's Bowers auction. And this is 1979 D Lincoln Cent in MS67 Plus red condition. The preservation is nearly flawless and the frosty surfaces display radiant copper orange luster. Minor dye fatigue and faint parallel polishing lines barely affect the sharpness of the strike. It ended up selling for $3,995 at Heritage Auctions. Thanks for watching guys, your likes and comments are highly appreciated and don't forget to hit subscribe button. Have a nice day.